All right, it is 6:30. Welcome everybody to the Streetlight Committee meeting of Community Board 8. The date is Tuesday, February 2nd, again 6:30. My name is Abraham Salcido. I chair this committee. Few rules of the road before we get started. As a reminder, any decisions that the committee takes here are going to be presented at the full board meeting on Wednesday, February 20th, also, which will be via Zoom. I will go through the agenda in order, invite every applicant to come up. Please state your name, tell us a little bit about your application. I will then invite the public for any comments, questions, and then I will go to committee members for the same, and then we will determine whether to take an action or not. So with that being said, I'm going to go straight into the first application. This is item 1A, Kave Hani, DBA Madam Bonte. Do I have the representative?
You do. I saw them here earlier. That's Dennis. Oh, Dennis, you'll have to confirm unmuting, and while you're doing that, I'll just give a little spiel that everybody is muted. You cannot unmute yourself. The way that you'll engage Abraham and the committee as they go through the agenda is that you'll use the raise hand feature that you can find under the reactions button at the bottom of your screen. And whenever you are called on by Abraham, you'll have to confirm unmuting at the bottom of your screen. So just like Dennis did right now.
All right. So can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Hi, how are you, Dennis?
Hi, how are you, Abraham?
Good.
Good, thanks.
All right, so tell us a little bit about your application and the to-be establishment.
So we just opened during the pandemic back in July, first week of July.
Mm-hmm.
We were like planning to open back in March. Like we were so close to opening, but the pandemic happened. We just like a week away from opening. Then we had to wait several months, and then we were finally able to open in July.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, yeah, we are located on 2nd Avenue between 94th and 95th. We are like a European style cafe, you know, like not a coffee shop basically, but just like French concept cafe. We serve espresso based drinks, pastries, French pastries, and sandwiches.
Yep.
So basically that request came from the customers themselves. Actually, we weren't planning to, you know, apply for a wine and beer license, but everyone was asking, why don't you guys like stay open a little later and then, you know, serve wine and cheese? So because there's not really a place like that in the neighborhood.
Sure.
Up in the 90s. So that's the idea. That's where the idea comes from. Okay.
Thank you very much. So then just for the recording, I have your hours of operation down as Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yes,
and
right now 5 p.m. But when the weather gets, you know, like warmer,
sure,
we are going to extend it.
Okay, great. And then also for the recording, the food drink ratio is 40% food, 60% drinks.
Yeah.
Small location, 15 tables. So, okay. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
So first, I will see, do we have any hands from the public to comment or question on this item?
That's a reminder, if you want to comment on this item, open up the reactions button at the bottom of your screen and click the raise hand button. Only click it once. Make sure you click that button, not the applause button, because that will disappear. And if you're on the phone, it's *9 to raise your hand. I'm not seeing any hands up.
Okay. Last call for public. If not, then I will go to one of our esteemed committee members for any questions, comments, or a motion.
You have Marco with his hand up.
Marco, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Good to see you.
You too.
I would like to propose a motion and then to speak. The motion is to approve. Does anybody can second?
I will happily second that.
Oh, okay. So first of all, is you're welcome to come to the neighborhood, and your hours of operation is reasonable. Yes, I think you are more oriented to a bar rather than a restaurant, but you're welcome. And I hope that you can open very soon in our neighborhood, and we are looking forward for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully. Thank you so much.
Great. Any other committee members?
Nope, that's it.
Barry, is that to call a question? Good.
He's
Okay,
nodding
so
yes.
Barry's calling a question. All in favor, if you're opposed or abstaining, raise your hand or let me know in some way if you don't want to call a question. Otherwise, we can, Will, are we doing a roll or do we? No,
No, just
we'll just say if okay, so we'll go motion to approve. Everyone's assumed a yes. So just to make sure I have myself, I have Alita, Barbara, Cause, Marco, and Russell, of course. Did I miss anyone, Will?
Barbara Rudder, did you mention
Yes.
her?
Yep.
Okay,
Barbara,
great.
Cause, Marco, Russell, Barry, and Alita. Okay, so again, if you're voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, raise your hand or signal in some way. Otherwise, this will go as a unanimous approval. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Now, moving further along, do we have the representative for Lilu and Lu? This is item 1B as in boy, liquor, wine, beer, and cider application.
I don't know who is supposed to be the speaker for that item. It may be Yasmin or Rosa, but I do not see either of those people. If you are here to speak for item 2 or item 1B, please raise your hand through the reactions button.
Anyone?
If you have your video on, wave at me. But I don't see anybody, so
Okay.
maybe we can.
Yeah, in the meantime, we'll move on. We'll come back to them. So do I have the representative for 1C, the MPQ DBA Panko Didion?
If you are here for 1C, please.
Oh,
is that Matthew?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Matthew Deveau here representing Le Pain Quotidien. My colleague Ryan is also on the call. We're here and ready.
Okay, so this is a new application. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it? And
yeah, so I'm sure many of you are familiar with the company, Le Pain Quotidien. We have a number of locations in the city. We went through, a rough time during the pandemic. This application is for a former Maison Kaiser location that our parent company acquired out of Chapter 11 as well. So we are converting this location into a Le Pain Quotidien, bringing a fresh look to it, but no major changes to the layout. So it's really applying our new cosmetic to the space. We will retain, a good chunk of the space for retail bakery, and we will, refresh the dining room. With that refresh, we would like to serve beer and wine in complement to our food, and that's basically it. It's the standard Le Pain Quotidien, as many of you know. It's a refreshed look, refreshed menu, same hours as prior. Same use of beer and wine as complement to our food.
Yep, great. Thank you very much for that context. Again, for the recording, I have your hours of operation 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Sunday, and then food and drink ratio 80% food, 20% drink. So no issue there. Do I have any hands from the public on item 1C, Le Pain Quotidien?
That's just a reminder, use the reactions menu at the bottom of your screen to find the raise hand button.
Okay. There being Yeah, not seeing any either. So there being none, one of my esteemed committee members like to.
Yes, Mathieu, is that this, so there's a pain quotidien on Madison and 84th and a pain quotidien on Lexington and 88th. Are either of those changing for this one? And do both of those also have wine and beer licenses?
Yeah, that's a good question. Our locations on Madison and 84th is our first location ever in the city. This location is currently closed, but bound to reopen soon. We do serve beer and wine at this location. The hours are a little more restricted. It's more like 7 to 7. We intend to maintain this location. The location on Lexington and 88 is likely to be either closed or turned into another one of our brands. So we won't have two Le Pain Quotidien next to each other, a block apart.
That's what I had thought, and that's why I was wondering. So now you also own the Maison Kaiser. Are you switching those with any of the Pain Quotidien? I realize this is a little off topic for the liquor license approval, but
no, that's okay.
Very
That's
unclear.
totally okay. Our parent company, ORFI Brands, acquired the asset of Maison Kaiser, not the brand itself. Hence why we are converting the locations into Le Pain Quotidien. We are not retaining the Maison Kaiser brand.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great. Barbara?
Maison Kaiser was a well-loved, pleasant place to go, both the bakery and the lunch place, and we missed it. It's a empty store, and I'm thrilled that you'll be coming back. And I know Pain Quotidien, and we're happy. I'm personally happy, and I'm sure the rest of us in my neighborhood will be happy to have you. So
thank you very much. We're trying to, through the refresh of our brand, we're trying to sort of combine the best of both brands. So we'll have an expanded bakery offering at the retail and a refreshed menu at the dining room. And hopefully we'll be able to seduce clienteles from both brands.
Seduce is the right word, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Barbara, do you want to make a motion with that?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, great. Do I have a hand for seconding or a thumbs up?
Marco's waving, so I assume.
Okay. Marco, do you want to speak?
Just unmute, Marco.
Thank you. I just want a second and welcome to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a thumbs up to call a question? Okay, thank you, Alita. If anyone wishes to oppose calling the question, give me a sign now. Otherwise, this will go down as a motion to approve, and I will go with the vote. So everyone would be assumed to be a yes in support of the approval, unless you are not voting yes, or you're not voting for cause, or you're abstaining, in which case, give us a sign now.
Barry, you have your hand up. I'm going to lower your hand then. Okay.
Okay, so seeing no other hands, that's going to go down as a unanimous approval. So thank you, Mathieu, and good luck. Good to have another presence in the neighborhood.
Would you repeat the hours of operation for that location, just for the record?
Yes.
7 a.m., 9 p.m.
7 to 9? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, good. So just doubling back yet, do I have anyone for the Lily and Lou? Any hands representative for Lily and Lou, item 1B? Okay, still seeing none. Then in that case, I will keep going and move on to item 1D as in David. Do I have the representative for CNC 1630, DBA Craft and Carry, new application for wine, beer, and cider?
Brian? Yeah.
Hi there, Brian.
You need to confirm
and
unmuting.
then tell us about the application. You have to unmute yourself, I think.
Yeah.
Sure. Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Stapleton. I am one of the owners of the Craft and Carry brand, in which we've opened 5 locations now, 1 in Brooklyn, 4 in Manhattan. We're looking to expand this brand. It's the business model is 50% retail, 50% on-premise consumption. We like to think of ourselves more of like a coffee shop that does beer. We primarily sell local beers, up to 300 local beers with 12 faucet tap system, typically. Just a little background about my partners and I. I served the city as a firefighter for 19 years, recently retired. My business partner, Dieter Seelig, who's listening in, he's from the Upper East Side. He went to Wagner Middle School, so we know the neighborhood very well. We've been in the city as operators since '97. We currently have 9 different liquor licenses, all of them in good standing, both with the precincts and the community boards that we operate in. We know a lot of what your concerns are. We like to address them. If there's any concerns at all, I'd like to address them right here, right now. We don't want to in any way operate, in a way that's going to adversely affect the neighborhood in any way. So I could just go down some of the things that I know from experience that some of the community boards are concerned about. One, our hours of operation. We open at noon. We close at 12. We close at 12 on Sundays typically. 2 o'clock. We prefer to ask for 2 a.m. for the rest of the week, simply because we don't know, especially with the Upper East Side, different neighborhoods ask for different things, but the last thing we want to do is be the last people open on the block. Some of the recorded music, we have basically the very low recorded music. It's we use a company called Prescriptive, in which all of our music is already pre-recorded and predetermined. It goes along with what days of the week that we're going to be operating, and it's never much more than what we call coffee house type of volume. We do operate as part of our business model with we like a garage door concept that closes down to a 42-inch bar height. We're open to suggestions as far as closing that window. We know that that's always a concern, and we have no problem with that. We don't have any outside options at this particular location, so we don't see that being an issue. We have to do a little bit more research as to the sidewalk. We might be able to apply for 2 small tables out in front of our establishment, but that would be the extent of any outdoor presence. So I'd like to think I touched on most of your concerns, but if you have any, I'd be happy to answer any questions in that regard.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate the thoroughness. Quickly for the recording, hours of operation again, applying for Monday through Sunday, 12 to 2. The food drink ratio, 30% food, 70% drink. And with that, I'll ask if there's any hands from the public with questions or comments on this application.
Just a reminder, it is the raise hand feature under the reactions button at the bottom of your screen, or *9 if you're on the phone. Not seeing any.
Okay, seeing none, I will go to committee members. Any hands there?
Barbara Redder.
Okay, Barbara.
This sounds like the same operation as the craft store that's on 86th Street between 2nd and 1st.
City
on
Swiggers.
the south side of the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're definitely going to be competition. It's but the one main difference between them and us is we specialize in local beers. We try to source local beers and only particularly ones from within the city. City Swiggers, I know the differentiation gets lost on a lot of people, but they specialize primarily on imported beers, which is in the beer business is quite a big difference. That would be a big difference between the 2 shops.
It's a similar type of place then.
It would be similar, I guess, yes.
Okay, and you're on 2nd Avenue.
Yes.
Can you tell me what was there beforehand? I can't quite picture.
I believe it was a nail salon, but it's been vacant for quite a while.
Oh, I know where. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
from the photos, it was 25A. Okay, do I have any other committee members' hands?
Russell and then Marco.
Russell.
Motion to approve.
Okay, great. Do I have a thumbs up to second? Oh,
Marco, do you want to
Marco?
speak or?
I just want a second. Welcome
Okay.
to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so Barry, can I take that as a calling the question with your thumbs up? Okay. We're going to call the question. Give me a signal if anyone's opposing to calling the question on the approval. Okay, seeing none, in that case, we will take a roll. This is a motion to approve. So if you are voting no, not voting for cause, or abstaining, give me a signal.
There, you have your hand up again.
No, he took it down. Okay, so then seeing none, that's going to go as a unanimous approval. Welcome and good luck to you.
Thank you. We look forward to joining the neighborhood, guys. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. Okay, Will, I did see your notes. So we do now have the representative for item 1B as in boy.
Yeah, I just saw Rosa Ruiz had signed on, but she has now walked away from her computer. So if she can hear me, run back to the computer. Otherwise, at least we know
Rosa?
that she's not there
Yeah.
and frozen or anything. So we go to 2A
Okay.
if you.
We'll go to 2A quickly. Rosa, we'll come back to you. Okay, so do I have the applicant for item 2A? This is the corporate change for DBA Amaranth.
Yes, that's Kathleen Stathopoulos, the attorney for Amaranth. Can you hear
Hi
me
there.
okay? Okay.
Yep. Hi,
Good.
Kathleen.
Hi. So unfortunately, one of the owners of Amaranth, Mr. Marchand, passed away. So this is a corporate change due to death. Typically, I would not have come before you because the rules of the corporate change with the SLA is if it's over 80%, you have to notify the community board. Paula Pedrignani, who you will know, she's the owner of the Gina restaurants. She is a 50% owner here, but for some reason is not on the license. We're not really sure why.
Okay.
So to the State Liquor Authority, it looks like it is 100% corporate change. That's why I did file with the community board. I am straightening that out with this corporate change. So once it's concluded, the owners will be Paula Pedrignani and Maria Marchand, who is the wife of Mr. Marchand. She's taking it through a will.
Okay.
Nothing, no
Understood.
changes to anything else, no changes to the running of the restaurant or the method of operation or anything of that.
Great. Well, thank you. We're very sorry to hear that. Do I have any members of the public with a question hand for this topic? Okay, wouldn't think so. Then I will go to my fellow committee members. Do I have a hand or a thumb?
Marco.
Hi, Marco.
Yes, motion to approve.
Great. I will just off the bat second that. Any other hands? Okay, if not, then Russell, is your thumbs up to speak, call the question? Yeah, cool, call the question. Okay, great. Thumbs up for the call the question. If anyone objects, let us know now. Otherwise, we're going to go to the roll call. And this will be a motion to approve the corporate change. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, give us a signal. Otherwise, that's going to go as unanimous approval. And Kathleen, thank you for
Thank
that.
you very much. Thank you. Have a nice
Thank
evening.
you. Good evening. You too.
Thank you.
Okay, so now going back to item 1B. Hello, Rosa. This is for L&L New Beginning, DBA Lee, and Lou.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hi there. Good evening.
Hi. Rosa Ruiz, for the representative for L&L New Beginning. This is a sushi place, American Fanfare restaurant, opening at 11:30, closing at 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I put 11 p.m. is just to give them enough time to close doors completely.
Okay.
Experienced operators, no adverse history.
Great. Okay, so then for the, just for the benefit of the recording, again, you had said hours 11:30 to 11, Monday through Sunday, and then the food drink ratio is 80% food, 20% drink.
The majority is always food.
Yep. Do I have any public hands with comments, questions on this item?
I'm not seeing any.
Yep, same here. Okay, Barry?
Yes, this time I have a question or comment. Can you, good luck in your new location. When do you plan to open, please?
It's going to be a couple of months because it's still under renovations. So they'll most likely be open and operating before their liquor license is issued.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And the type of food you're serving?
It's going to be sushi, American fanfare.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Any other committee
Marco has
members?
his hand up.
Marco?
Yes, I would like to put a motion to approve.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, seconded by Russell. Great. Then, unless there's any other hands, do anyone want to call a question? Great, Barbara, I'm taking your thumb as yes on calling the question. If anyone objects to calling the question, let me know. Otherwise, we'll continue on to the vote. This is a motion to approve. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, let us know. Otherwise, we will take this as a unanimous approval. And as always, we'll say good luck.
Thank you. Have a good, it was really good seeing everyone. Have a good night.
You too. Okay, so now continuing with the agenda, do I have a representative for item 3A? This is the Green Kitchen.
Yes, Bruno Joffrey for Green Kitchen. I believe my client Peter.
Yeah, I'm on as well.
Yes.
If I may, guys, I'm just gonna start off and chime in briefly. First of all, I just wanted to thank the members of the community board and the Street Life Committee for giving us yet another opportunity to be present here this evening. For everyone not on the prior two meetings, my name is Peter Kasimis. I'm one of the proprietors of Green Kitchen. As he mentioned, our attorney Bruno is present this evening and will be taking the lead tonight, but I just wanted to say a few short words. I wanted to start by apologizing for some of the comments that I made on the meeting last month, specifically regarding some of the standard operating procedures, more specifically the flyering. I made a poor mistake last time of not correctly flyering prior to the community board meeting. Obviously, that was an error on my part. We rectified that error and flyered far and wide weeks prior to this meeting. I also just want to say that in no way, shape, or form was I trying to be abrasive or rude at all on the last call. As I'm sure everyone knows, this has been an incredibly stressful time for the food and beverage industry. More specifically for us, it's been very stressful for both our business and our family. I got into this on the prior two calls, but just for anyone that wasn't on, on the onset of this terrible pandemic, we suffered a very close family loss. My father passed away due to COVID. He was one of the main operators of our business. Coping with the loss of a close family member in tandem with the idea that we were not able to operate our business was incredibly challenging on our end. And these issues were further amplified by the fact that we had just made a substantial investment to building out a second location. Basically, we were just trying to get back in the black. And obviously, as I mentioned, it's been a big challenge. All of these factors put us into a position of desperation that regrettably led to some egregious mistakes on our end, specifically in the summer months. We are fully aware of the mistakes that we made over the course of a few months. We are deeply sympathetic. We know the impact that these mistakes had on the community, and we're doing everything in our power now to rectify this issue and the problems so that we can continue to operate in the community in a safe fashion. We hope that all of you can be sympathetic to our cause and give us another chance to operate responsibly going forward. As I've mentioned in the past, we've been in the neighborhood for 14 years, and we feel like we can make these changes and continue to operate for years to come. As a final note on my end, and then I'll turn it over to Bruno, it's one of my goals going forward to have a much closer relationship with the community board as well as the community. As I mentioned, I know if given the opportunity, we will be able to operate in a safe and agreeable fashion. And I really just want to be able to have some sort of an open line of communication with even myself being personally responsible, so that if at all any issues arise in the future, again, I can be reached directly, and we can kind of nip these whatever problems may appear in the bud before they turn into anything even remotely serious. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. And I'm again going to turn it over to Bruno.
Thank you, Peter.
Yes, thank you, Peter. So I was brought in mainly within the last month and a half to deal with the SLA issues, which we've put forth, and obviously what we've submitted to the community board is some remedial measures that I believe, and I could, if necessary, I could read them off to other people that aren't privy to it. But the remedial measures that we've put forth, I think, will address a lot of the concerns that have come about through the COVID pandemic. I believe they address most of them, even issues that aren't really related to the pandemic, but occurred during the pandemic that were clearly issues with the community, such as the noise issues and other things. So, if I could just briefly go through them. I mean, one of the things that the first thing that we'd be willing to sign as a stipulation when we put forth these remedial measures are the demotion of Aris Kazimis, who essentially was the operator and manager at the time during the pandemic, as he'd be demoted as main operator, basically going to a different location. And with respect to this location, it would be Peter and Vasil who would be taking the lead on the overall operation of this business, and mainly Peter. And that's what he just spoke about before, having an open line of communication. So he'd have, cell phone, whatever it is necessary available, that there'd be, he would be the point person, and any issues would be dealt with immediately. They've been closed for almost 3 months. I can assure you that they're taking this very, very seriously. And by the time, if they do get their license back, it's going to be even longer period of time. And they understand that, there's a accountability here, that if something like this should arise in the future, they know that there's not going to be any more chances. So I think that the community board and the committee can feel confident that going forward, they're going to be working with the community. They're going to be great neighbors with the community. And this pandemic has gotten, I could tell you, I've represented a lot of different locations, and, dealing with Peter and hearing his voice and hearing how truly, sorry he is for what happened. I feel confident as well saying that I don't think there's going to be any issues going forward. And even if, that's not enough, I think the fact that having, basically, if they do get their license back through the State Liquor Authority, they're going to be on what's essentially going to be almost like a double super probation type of thing, where if anything close to what occurred arises, they know they're losing their license there, and that's the end of this business. From what I understand, and speaking to people within the community board, that this community board itself, I know I haven't been before you probably in a long time, but I deal with community boards down in Lower Manhattan, and from what I understand, this particular community board is very, very pro-business and wants to give people the opportunity if they're given and done it in the right way. So I think Peter's on the right track right now with this business. Some of the other things that I think are very important is a implementation, of a zero strike policy for all staff. What that means is anything having to do with the procedures, the COVID masks, coming into work, the different things that they have to check off as far as where they've been, COVID, tracing, temperatures, all those things, zero tolerance policy. If anybody, doesn't wear their mask, or if they catch anybody doing anything that's outside the scope, they're going to be terminated. So they have that in place. Also, hiring full-time security, that they would be specifically for COVID restrictions. They understand now that, and I know the area was somewhat gray for a lot of places in the summer, where even though it wasn't someone who was even a patron of their place, but that if they're within 100 feet, if they're drinking, all those things have to be enforced. They're aware of that now. Also, with respect to having, if there's such a crowd that's drawn to a place, for whatever reason outside. I've spoken with Gary Meyerhoff, who's counsel to the State Liquor Authority, and he's explained it to me, and I convey it to my clients. If a place happens to be a busy place where they're getting a big draw and they cannot control it, it's the place's responsibility, and Peter knows this, that they have to actually stop serving, and they're aware of that. That's another factor, that if it becomes that sort of congregation of a place and there's that many people congregating, they understand that they have to cease selling any more liquor at that point in time. We're hoping, obviously all of us here are hoping, that we're headed for a brighter future with the vaccines coming. But that doesn't stop the fact that even when that happens, places, the onus is going to be on the place to still have the, until it's the health department says otherwise and the state liquor authority says otherwise, the onus is going to be on them to have a very vigilant type of responsibility and address all those issues and make sure that all the parameters and restrictions are followed. The portable speakers outside are removed. That's something will remain in effect. Installation of electronic heaters, the proper ones are going to be there. They don't have to issue with that anymore. Any sidewalk obstructions are going to be removed if they haven't been already. Posting the proper signage, that's already been done. And then, correction of any type of fire extinguishers and open flame issues, those are all corrected as well. So if anybody has any specific questions, I'm happy to address, and Peter as well, towards us. But I think we're putting forth a plan that this particular committee and community board can be confident going forward with this licensing. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. So bring up before I go to hands from the public and then the committee, just for anyone that may not have been at the prior meetings and for the benefit of the recording, we saw the kind of the remediation plan, but just to be explicit, what is the actual ask in exchange?
Say that again. What do you mean by ask in exchange?
The ask, so you're willing to stipulate to the remediation plan in exchange for?
We're hoping to get the support to the reinstatement of this liquor license.
So a formal resolution of this committee and board in support of the reinstatement of the license, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. Good. Okay, so make sure we have that for the recording. So I guess we'll first, if there's any public hands for this item, we can hear those questions or comments.
Yeah, I see Amy Knowles, and just a reminder, if you would like to speak on this issue, use the raise hand button that you can find under the reactions menu at the bottom of your screen, or it's *9 on the phone. So Amy, you'll just have to confirm unmuting.
There we go.
Yes, good evening. My name is Dr. Amy Knowles, and I am speaking tonight on behalf of Peter, my support of Peter, Ari, Billy, the Green Kitchen. First of all, my sincerest condolences to you, Peter. I haven't had the opportunity directly. I have spoken to Ari and Billy on behalf of the loss of Gus, your dear father, whom I have known for 14 years. I reside in the neighborhood. I am a wonderful patron of the Green Kitchen on 1st Avenue and the Green Kitchen on 2nd Avenue. And I say it to Billy all the time and to Ari, you keep me fed. I don't cook. And a little bit of humor tonight. These are an incredible young men. They are incredible young men. And I will tell you, I consider them as sons. I really do. I think of this family as so hardworking. And these young men are learning. And Peter, Ari, Billy pull together, and they're astute businessmen, and they learn from their father. And I am here tonight in support because I think Bruno said it so eloquently, and Peter, you spoke so eloquently from the heart. And again, I've known you all for many, many years, and it's a good 14 years, actually. You speak from the heart tonight as learning. We were in such a challenging period. We still are. We are still in such a challenging period, and we learned as we went along. And this 2nd Avenue Green Kitchen was a part of the neighborhood, And the summertime was a different feel from what we've now learned. And here we are in February of 2021, still in this pandemic. I can say to you the character of these men who are running this establishment, it's family oriented. It is about community. There are times when I see the members of the staff, they feel like they're a member of the family. And it's such a wonderful organization, both of the Green Kitchens. And I know that going forward, as Bruno stated, and he laid out so clearly the changes that will be instituted. And the realities are, this is their livelihood. And this is so very important. These are men who are learning about business. They learn from their dad, and now it's on their shoulders to keep this family business going. And I can tell you, I know Peter's mom, and it's, again, everybody pulls together, and they turn to us, members of the community, to say, this is what we're doing, and these are our ideas. And just last night, I had soup from the Green Kitchen for dinner, my husband and I, and we said to Billy, we're here for you because you're here for us. You're here for us. So I could keep going on and on. I'm so passionate about the Green Kitchen, where I eat Saturday and Sunday brunch and 4 nights out of the week, because again, I don't cook, neither does my husband. And if Brian were on with me tonight, I'm sitting actually in my office this evening. If we were home together, we'd both be on in great support of the Green Kitchen. And again, I want to just speak to the character of these fine, fine men who are running this business. They've learned, and things will be different, and they already are. They already are. It's a wonderful operation, and they are here as members of the community, serving those of us who live on the Upper East Side, to keep us well fed and to help us remember that in these such challenging times of a pandemic, we've got to pull together. And that's what this is about tonight. So I want to say to all of the community board members tonight, thank you so much for giving us members of the community an opportunity to speak and support what we believe in. And you're all very fine individuals for allowing that, to give us a voice, because I sometimes think that it's most important you can hear and you can see a face as opposed to an email or just a letter. You hear the passion we have. So please hear me. And I thank you for allowing me to be heard. I believe in the Green Kitchen. I allow them and they keep me fed. And I so very believe in what they are doing. And again, Peter, great job tonight. Your dad is proud of you. Your mom is proud of you. I know that. And Bruno, thank you for laying out clearly the changes that have already been made. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. I do hope, please, that you vote in favor of giving these fine, fine business owners another opportunity to show you they've learned. And all.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank
you. Okay, well, do we have any other public members?
You do. You have George, and then Darren, and a couple others after that.
Okay, let's start with George. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Members of the public, not public members.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for the floor. I am also a patron of Green Kitchen. I've been going to Green Kitchen, the First Avenue location, probably since like 2011 or so. And then obviously the Second Ave location when it opened. I live on the Upper East Side. I echo exactly what Amy said. I think, Bruno has set forth a remediation plan that seems pretty thorough. I think that everybody is aware on board of what the opportunity ahead of us looks like. I want to say that being a patron, I always felt safe. I never felt like I was unsafe with any of the COVID measures. I think that they're a great asset to the community. Specifically, the First Avenue location has been a staple for the community for a long time, but obviously the Second Ave is an extension of that. I think everyone on the call here can attest to moments that perhaps they didn't operate at the level that they know that they can operate. So in the interest of a new start, We have a new administration in the interest of unity and helping to sort of support small businesses. I really beg for you guys to reconsider and support the reinstatement of their liquor license. This truly is their livelihood. They're apologetic for the mistakes that were made over the summer. And I don't think that the Upper East will be the same without, such a cornerstone of them in the community. So thank you for hearing me again. And I appreciate the floor. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next is Darren. Just confirm unmuting on your screen, Darren. One more chance, Darren, or we'll move on to English. Okay, we're going to move on to English. Just state your name for the record.
Yeah, it's English Berthoumieux. Good evening. I was a part of last meeting, so I'm just going to make this sort of a little short and sweet. I live in the neighborhood. I'm a block away from that. I go frequently, and the staff are lovely. I've encountered Ari, Peter's brother, so many times. And he's just a great person, and he works really hard. So you can obviously see that's COVID just disrupted so many lives, and I think they learned from their mistakes and they want to do better. I think that they deserve a second chance, and I'm in full support of that.
Great, thank you so much.
We have Dave and then Steve. Just again, repeat your name for the record as we.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dave. I've been a long time patron of the Green Kitchen, better part of a decade. Lived on the Upper East Side for years now, since moved out of the neighborhood with my family. I just wanted to point out that I think beyond what everybody has said, obviously everything has been very tough for the restaurant industry in New York. But last summer, when my wife and I and young son, not even a year old, were finally trying to get out of the house to do something safely during the day to eat, because we had just been stuck eating inside our apartment for I don't even know how long, the Green Kitchen was the first place we went. We felt that was the best call. My son loves the French fries. My wife loves the avgolemino soup. We were treated with respect. We never felt unsafe. And I think it was, and sorry if you can hear my son screaming in the background. We love it. And we will continue to go back and support it. But I just wanted to mention, just as a small anecdote, that was the first place we went to when we emerged from our own little hibernation during COVID, because we felt that was the best place to go. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
So Steve?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Oriema. I've been a patron of the Green Kitchen since it was back on 11th Avenue. They also even gave me employment during some of the summers in between college. I've known Ari and Peter through being a patron for almost 20 years now, and I can't say enough good things, and I echo what everyone before me has said as well. They run a great business. No one in there really ever has a complaint, and I fully support them getting their liquor license back. They're an important part of the community. It would not be the same without them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Joanna, and then somebody with the username rback. After Joanna, hit *6 to unmute if you would like to speak.
Hi, I'm Joanna Grab. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm a neighbor, and I'm also a mom of a 1-year-old, and I want to bring a different perspective to this. I had my baby before COVID, and before COVID, I did have problems. I'm, one building over from the Green Kitchen on 2nd Ave, and there were sidewalk obstructions. There's a lot of bikes pinned up, and there's even a pipe formation for strapping bikes to it. And that did cause me, as a mom with a stroller, to have trouble. I spoke with the then manager and owner, and was kind of brushed off. And I felt like that was a really difficult spot to be in. And I also was a regular customer, so they knew my face. I guess my concern is with COVID, I was no longer a customer. I was very disappointed in the way that they were treating the community. On the 10th floor, I can hear, music and patronage. I like business. I'm a very pro-business person, but I think the rosy picture that's being painted is not reflective of folks who don't necessarily know Peter personally. I don't know you personally, Peter. I guess my concern is, how do I know this isn't going to happen again? I know you have a plan, but unless I have your phone number, if I'm walking down the street and need help, how do I know you're going to be that helping hand and that good neighbor?
May I interject there? Is that possible?
Bruno?
Well, I'm just,
yeah.
Do we address that right now, or do we, it's up to the board, the committee. Do we address that now, or?
I think you can answer the question now.
Okay, Peter, yes.
Sure. Okay. So Joanna, thank you very much for raising your concerns. The answer really bluntly to your question is that, it's been mentioned a couple times that this is our livelihood. We, we're struggling as it is right now, and basically we have no choice but to rectify all these issues. We have every intention of resolving whatever issues were present, and I'd be more than happy to, as I mentioned when I spoke starting this off, to provide my personal information should any problems arise. You mentioned I guess some of the congestion. I would imagine that's on the 84th Street side in terms of some of the bikes that we have. That is legal what we have there, but I can imagine that there have been times where there is some congestion. We do have a pretty rampant delivery business, and so we do need to have some bikes present so that our guys can actually make the deliveries. But just in summation, we're 100% committed to resolving these issues and operating in a safe and correct manner going forward. And again, I'd be happy to share my personal information to anyone on the board or any of the community in general, so that we have a point of contact going forward.
Joanna, did that answer at least in part your question?
Yeah, I guess my concern is that, there are a lot of folks, I had to make special time for this tonight because I have a 1-year-old. How will folks in the community who aren't able to make a meeting like this have access to you, to management? Is a real concern that I have.
So I think I can, actually, Peter, if you don't mind, just to speak the mechanism. So I think one of the things that we have done, so I won't speak about this particular application, what we've done when there's been issues with other establishments in the community, and we're in a position like this where we're deciding whether or not it makes sense to give another opportunity. In the instances where we have, again, we've actually had the applicants and the senior contacts, like in this case, Peter, that those contacts are given to the board office. So anyone that has any issues, CB8 is always a resource. And then what we found can be the case is when an applicant has had concerns and had either their license revoked or had other issues, the agency will be as will we as CB8 be very vigilant to make sure that they're adhering to what has been agreed, because I know the agency itself will have little appetite for recidivism in this instance. And then I know that there will be a very low tolerance if we ever get to a state where we had a similar situation. So I think just to give you some context, those are the normal things that we usually do when we have these types of situations. We have the board office be a resource. Us at CB8, we're always going to be particularly attentive to kind of ongoing relationship rebuilding. And then of course, the agency will also be there. And then we have the standard resources of 311, which I know that the agency and we will also be monitoring should other issues arise. So I think there's at least a handful of things that can be done if there is a community member who feels that something is either problematic or not being adhered to what was promised. And it's also what we invite, and we hope that everyone will let us know, because obviously we want to make sure that all parties of the community and every member is comfortable with the decision we're taking or that we choose to take later on as we get through this.
Thanks for that clarity. I really appreciate the board and all of your hard work and your expedience. And I really don't want to see anyone go out of business. I just want to bring my perspective, because that is not otherwise voiced, and I know I'm not the only one who has that perspective.
No, that's understood, and that's what we're here for. Thank you to get all views. So really appreciate that.
Thanks.
Great. Will?
So I'm trying to remember if I called on Steve Aramema.
Steve spoke.
Okay, great. Okay, so rback, whoever that is, just identify yourself, please.
Hi, my name's Roslyn. I live in the neighborhood. I've lived on 83rd and 2nd for the past 11 years. I've been going to Green Kitchen since the first weekend that they opened. It quickly became a very important spot to me. It was always the first place that I would go to after a long business trip for comfort food, and it was always the place that I brought my family and my friends when they would come visit me from out of town. I think I just wanted to quickly just come kind of on and say a couple supportive words for them. I haven't been able to see my family or my friends due to COVID in months. And I've been really thankful to have the Green Kitchen to go to. A lot of their staff and even people that I've met there have been not only like friends to me, but like family. And the Green Kitchen's kind of been like my second home. I can't even imagine like how difficult it's been for the restaurant industry during this time, and for these guys to lose their father. How much like that must have been so hard. And I think they did such a great job of trying to, kind of work on the business. I think, from a community perspective, it's been a really great family-friendly place to go to. I think the people that went to Green Kitchen before the pandemic, even the people that are going there now, are not the same people that were there during the summer. I think if you think about, everything that was going on the Upper East Side with the influx of people that didn't live in this neighborhood, that took advantage of the Second Avenue situation that was happening across all the bars and the restaurants, those aren't the people that are in the community that are going to go back to these places, specifically Green Kitchen too, as well. And I think thinking too, as far as everything going on with the restaurant industry, for those of us that lived through the Second Avenue subway construction and how many businesses of all different kinds that we lost, it was really, really hard. And then watching the community kind of come back together and build up the business again has taken a really long time. And it's really kind of sad for us, I think, to think that, so many restaurants are going out of business, and to think like that these guys would be losing, the thing that they built with their father, which was a family business. I think would be really sad for, not only, them, but for us as a community. It's been a really great place to go to. So I just really hope that you guys can help support them. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next, we have Darren.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Darren Bowen, and I've lived in the Upper East Side here at 76th and First for about 20 years. I've been a customer of the Green Kitchen for about 12. I just, in the interest of time, I just wanted it on the record that I could not say anything as eloquently as Dr. Amy did, but she pretty much covered all the bases. There's nothing else that I can add that hasn't been said already, other than the fact that I truly support these guys. They've been fantastic at what they do. They seem very contrite, and I fully support them being having their license reinforced. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren.
Next we have Iota Zen, and then Helen. And I have a person named Dimitri who chatted me that he can't find the raise hand button. So we'll go to him after Helen. Iota Zen.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ayatsen. I live on the Upper East Side, and we've been customers. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. We've been customers of Green Kitchen for 12 years. My kids grew up in that restaurant. We love that restaurant, especially during the weekends. And we are here to support them, and hopefully they will get back you will give them their license back. Dr. Amy gave a very, she said it all. And Peter, you spoke with your heart tonight, and I think your father is very proud of you. That's all that I have to say. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for sharing.
Helen?
Hi. So I've been a long time patron of the Green Kitchen. I've also lived in the neighborhood. I've lived in various other neighborhoods. Obviously, I'm going to reiterate a lot of the same things. I think that this was an unprecedented time. I think a lot of businesses found themselves in very uncomfortable situations. At the end of the day, I think like any family or human, you kind of have that fight or flight response. Obviously, there were some mistakes that were made. I don't want to point fingers and say that there weren't other establishments nearby or in other neighborhoods that were doing the same thing, but that kind of just was the situation. I think Rosalind made a good point that at that time in the summer, there were a lot of people that were not from the neighborhood that were coming to the neighborhood because unfortunately that area of 2nd Avenue kind of had a reputation for being a bit of a fun area. I think it's just unfortunate that after so many months of being inside, people, especially younger people, found it an outlet to be outside. But again, I think to reiterate all of the good things or all of the bad things that are in the past is sort of not the thing that we should focus on right now. I think that there have been a lot of changes that have been put in place. I think that, I've listened in on prior committee meetings. I think a lot of the negative commentary has been specific to instances of noise and congestion, and all of those things were true. However, I think no matter how contrite and how remorseful you are, you just can't change the past. I hope we live in a society. I know Alita mentioned last time that, she's an attorney. I come from the same background. And I think that, in that profession, we understand that there is such thing as redemption. I mean, what kind of a system do we live in if we don't have that? And I think that doesn't mean that people should go without any sort of punishment. But I think that if you come back, you're a first-time offender, you show remorse, you have a plan, you know how to attack things in a different way so that you're not repeating the same mistakes. I don't see why we shouldn't allow someone, to regain, where their place in society. I don't believe that's a society that we live in. So again, I can reiterate all the same points. I think that it was an unfortunate time. I can say that I had been there on many of the occasions where there were crowds of people, and I know that there were a lot of comments about how unsafe it was. I will say that I saw firsthand and spoke firsthand to many first responders, doctors, nurses who were there on breaks that were, they were obviously dealing with horrific circumstances. And many of them were in conversation telling me that this was their respite. This is where they came to forget, as horrible as it sounds, the horrible things that they were having to deal with. And so these are people that were dealing with this firsthand. And I think they understood the difficulties of COVID firsthand. And I'm not suggesting that, they're representative of the entire community, but I think that, they too understood the risks, and people made mistakes, but they were there and they understood, the risks. I think a lot of the changes have been made since then. I think to continue to punish a business in a society where we're losing a lot of businesses now, I've lived in various neighborhoods where I think the worst thing that's happened in any of them has been when small businesses have closed and we've had more Sweet Greens and Taco Bells than anybody needs. So I just wanted to reiterate a lot of the same points that others made. I'm hoping that the committee can stand behind these guys. They're really hardworking, and I would just hate to see another business fall short, because again, this is not about just a liquor license. This deeply impacts their business. And I would just hope that as community members that you would consider that, and please just, give them another chance. Thank you.
Thank you.
So after Helen, we're going to go to Dimitri and then Frank. And this is just a reminder, if you would like to be recognized by the committee as a member of the public during this time, use the raise hand feature under reactions or hit *9 on your phone. And then you'll have to confirm unmuting whenever we call on you. Dimitri?
Yep. Hey, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I mean, everything everyone else said is pretty spot on. I'm going to, I guess, tell a little story about myself. I'm a financial advisor in the neighborhood, and one of the things that I do is networking events. Meet people, and good way to have mixers and just have people come out. And early on, I went to a bunch of different bars and different scenes, and they could care less. They've got the table in the corner for you. Help yourself. I kind of stumbled upon Green Kitchen, and it was completely different atmosphere. It was just more vibrant, more like family oriented. Everybody that I would bring there just for networking events. Obviously, alcohol is kind of important then. Get people to loosen up, just talk a little bit, be a little bit themselves. And Ari was great, just always making time and space for me anytime I requested it. And it was very fruitful to my business. A lot of people did sign on with me afterwards. A lot of the feedback I would get back from people was, wow, what a great time we had last night. That place is awesome. The guys there were great. And you really don't get that in a lot of places. There's millions of restaurants in Manhattan, bunch of different bars, different atmospheres, whatever you need is there. And rarely does anybody come there and sit with you. The owners talk to you, mix it up with you. And when I found these guys, it was amazing. It was awesome. And that's it. Obviously I can't speak on their behalf, but I just wanted to just share with you guys how Green Kitchen was amazing for me. It really was just the atmosphere, as I keep mentioning, and it'll be a shame if they get shut down, because I didn't have as much success in other locations, because they could just care less. You're in the back, they don't come, they're not approachable. You're talking to a hostess half the time, a waiter, and it was very rare that I'm actually talking to management and owners and everything else. So I don't know what occurred. I'm just hoping for the best as we all get back to some kind of normalcy, hopefully in the next few months. Just wishing Green Kitchen's there when I get back to the office myself and start having these events. I would love to host it there again at some point. So that's all. Thanks again for your time today.
Thank you, Dimitri.
Finally, Frank. Frank, you're unmuted. You can go ahead and speak. Frank, one more chance. You are unmuted already. Just start speaking. There you go. Nope. Nope. I guess Frank is not able to speak. I do have somebody in the chat that's saying that they have been trying to raise their hand named Allie. Allie, we're going to go to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allie Steuben. I just wanted to open up and say that I have no direct relationship with anyone at Green Kitchen. However, I am a big fan, and so is everyone, my friends and family who visit. We always go to Green Kitchen. I actually ordered last night for dinner. I wanted to provide explain my experience during the early days of COVID when there were drinks to go. I actually was there when, I'm not sure who, but one of the owners or managers came out and did, break up the scene, made sure that everyone was staying socially distant. And I was kind of shocked about that, but definitely pleasantly surprised because it did make me feel safer. And, they did follow all the guidelines, make sure that the crowd was broken up and everyone dispersed to clear the sidewalk. I definitely am in favor of getting their liquor license back. I would do anything to support Green Kitchen. They are a great business, and I know they're really special to the Upper East Side community. So appreciate the vote in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll go back to Frank if you want to give him a chance, and then we'll move to board members. Frank, you can give that one more try. Check your microphone. Do you have headphones plugged in? We can't hear you at all, Frank. I'm sorry. Abraham, are you ready to move to board members or?
Yeah, if for some reason Frank does come back, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so who do we have first from our committee members that would like to, or board members, committee members?
I have a person on an iPhone that asked if they can speak, and then we'll move to board members, and starting with Barbara Rudder
Okay.
as the first person up. iPhone, just identify yourself, please.
My name's Brian Knowles.
Hi, Brian.
How are you?
Good.
I think you might have heard my wife earlier, Amy Knowles, but I wanted to, we started going to the Green Kitchen one long time ago, and we now consider Billy, Ari, and Peter extremely close, very good friends of ours. And it's not because we grew up together and we played together and as kids and through the years, it was because of that bond formed at the Green Kitchen. We started going and it was Billy and Ari coming up to us, extending a hand. And it is something that my wife and myself look forward to every weekend, every night, because we eat there. And it's a place that is not only dining, it's a place of friendship where people talk. We've gotten to know everybody there. We'll go to GK2 on Saturday. We'll see Coca, Jonathan, Ari's there. And I don't know if any of you know, I'm sure you do, throughout all of this, the GK1 sadly has not been able to be open even to outside eating. So for anybody walking in there, it's sad to see all of these people that you've gotten to know so well, really unable to be able to do what they do best. The GK2, I think, for the people that I've heard, everybody has so eloquently said it. It's become a fabric of the neighborhood, and it's a place where people can go and relax. And I walked up and down, and I continue to do so up and down 2nd Avenue, and I've just seen how everybody's had to do kind of their own thing to continue their business. I think 2 blocks down, I used to see a 2-piece band play there at night. And I see the GK, they've extended themselves to the neighborhood. I look at it as a place, we're not talking about a bar where they're playing the beer pong in the back. This is a place where people can go and relax, maybe have a glass of wine with dinner, a mimosa. So to see this taken away from them in these unprecedented times, You know, I'm sure whatever they've said is, it's for what these guys doing under the circumstances of COVID, under the circumstances of losing their father, under the circumstances of not even having 1 minute of time to grieve their loss, under the circumstances of losing one of their other key employees over at the GK1 during all of this insanity, to deny and to take away a key component of their business. I hope all of you can see your way through and let this business thrive. Let it thrive like other businesses in the neighborhood. This is just a key place where people can go and have friendship, have family, and to be able to talk with these guys and all of the staff. For my wife and myself, they've all become very close to us. You know, it would be sad if that were taken away from the neighborhood and from everybody who enjoys the Green Kitchen.
Thank you very much. Okay. Barbara, I think you were first.
I spoke out last time. I was one, I agree with so much what was said. The one thing I don't agree is that people felt safe during that area. I will say it was Mother's Day. I spoke to my family and then went out to get food. I came back on I walked over to 2nd Avenue because 3rd Avenue wasn't safe, but I became hysterical. I was stuck at the light by Green Kitchen, the music blasting, gangs of people, and I came home really upset. Over the time, I realized that the music was different and bad, but it was the Wild West on 2nd Avenue. I live on 87th and 2nd, and I used to love that area, except for last summer. It was the Wild West. They weren't alone. And I really think the biggest mistake was the city allowing outdoor drinking, standing up, and the police would hang around and do zero. So, you know, it was just a horrible time. Since then, the Green Kitchen really had a lovely outdoors. I went there before COVID, I was never in person, but they have great turkey burgers and things like that, a nice casual restaurant. And I've been asking neighbors and they all love Green Kitchen. They are a really important part of our community. I believe that they won't make the mistake for 2 reasons. One is I hope the city never goes back to allowing this ridiculous plan of drinking outdoors, standing up. And second, because I think that they are scared that they know that they can't go back and do anything bad because it won't happen. I am pro-business, and I think I have come to realize that it is an important part for our community. Everybody that spoke are local, and the people I've spoken with and have seen are local. And in spite of the fact that they gave me very anxious and sleepless night that night, I will be in wholehearted support for them and hope that we can endorse their return of a liquor license.
Thank you, Barbara.
Russell, and then Alita, and then Barry.
Thank you. So, you know, I think that what Green Kitchen did, you know, over the summer, I think their conduct was wrong. I think they did the wrong thing. I think it was appropriate that they've had the suspension they've had, but at this point they have accepted responsibility for that. They have certainly paid, you know, a significant penalty, I would say, for what happened. I think, you know, it's clear to me that they have learned their lesson, and you know, I think they've faced accountability for what it is that they did. And so I think at this point, and the fact that they have you know, their remediation plan, and the fact that they're rectifying it, I think is very good. So I think, you know, at this point, given that it's been several months now that they've had to endure, without having a liquor license. In my view, they've paid their debt and, seem to have learned their lesson. And so I would say that I think the board should support what they're asking, that the SLA reinstate them. And I would actually move that we do that.
Okay. Barbara, is that a second? Okay, so that's been seconded. Let's have a little more discussion before anyone calls a question.
Alita is next.
Thank you. There were more than 20 violations between the late spring and October. This went way past the summer and people coming up from other parts of the city or other states. These were health violations that put people in jeopardy. And I'm really concerned that the lesson that they learned is the lesson to get back the liquor license, because there have been comments, off the cuff comments, I think by Peter, that reflect this is, I think he has learned a lesson, but I'm not sure how it will translate into the real world. I appreciate everyone coming. And I mean, I understand that everyone came and supported them as a restaurant, and I have no issue with that, but I have an issue with what went on and the many, many opportunities they had to fix it and chose not to. And so I'm really concerned. The best that I could do possibly, and I'm listening to everyone else from the board, is to support a wine and beer license and not a full liquor license, because it's the full liquor license that led to the congregating on the street, the music, the poster boy aspect of this for COVID-19 violations and bad behavior. One of my kids works with infectious disease doctors who are studying and working with COVID, and she refused to walk on the corner with the people congregating what was going on outside. So I guess I don't have a lot of, I don't know why, I don't have a lot of confidence that everything will be complied with. The fact that people felt safe there when there was no indication that that was a safe environment tells me that we don't know what we're talking about, and we don't know. There's not enough known about how the virus spreads, and it's still really serious. We don't have enough vaccines. So I don't know that I could support this, but I'm listening, and we certainly don't want to lose any restaurants or any other small businesses. The city thrives on it, the neighborhood thrives on it, but a lot of other places complied, and even if they didn't comply, they don't have a list of more than 20 violations. So thanks very much for listening.
Thanks, Alita.
May I possibly just comment for one quick second to Alita's point?
Go ahead, Peter.
Alita, thank you first and foremost for raising your concerns again. We're obviously very appreciative for everyone that's come in support of us, but I think at this point it's more important for people, with criticisms or negative comments, because for me, at least personally, like my main intention here is to address these issues and rectify them going forward. Unfortunately, one of the issues with kind of limiting the liquor license is that it is a main component of our revenue, and it's one of the more higher margin components. So it's difficult to remove this or limit it in any capacity. One of the things that I do want to mention just quickly is that I don't necessarily think that it was hard alcohol, so to speak, that led to the congestion and the violations that we received, or some of the situations that presented themselves at our establishment. I think a big part of that, which Barbara kind of mentioned, was we had a walk-up bar, and there were other businesses that did the same thing, obviously along 2nd Avenue. I think really that was the main reason why at times there was so much congestion along our storefront. I'm not sure, Alita, if you've actually come by the restaurant at all in more recent months. We're continuing to operate with just a food business, and really, at least in my opinion, once the curbside bars went away and we were actually given our seating back, that really alleviated the problem instantaneously. We actually had seats, obviously, to put people down on, right, and direct traffic, so there was no one just kind of sitting in front of the storefront. Again, just to reiterate what I said before, I'm listening to all of the concerns going forward, and I want to have, like I said, a direct line to everyone so that we can make sure that we're compliant going forward. But at the end of the day, we do feel like we've put in a good amount of measures here going forward, and we are serious about making these changes. Again, this is our livelihood, this is our business. And we are hell-bent on making changes and proving to all of you that we can continue to operate in a good light. And I think it is worth noting again, like I said last time, that we did do that for a substantial period of time, just with this concept alone, for 14 years in this area. We are a food first business. It's just unfortunately, given some of the economic factors in the industry, the alcohol really assists in kind of being profitable, and so it's difficult on our end, and we're struggling now. And again, I thank you for voicing your opinions and your concerns, and I just want to again echo the fact that we are taking this very, very seriously, and we have every intention on rectifying these issues and making sure that we're in a good position going forward. Thanks.
Thank you for answering. I know that liquor licenses are obviously a huge portion of revenue. That's why the state allowed liquor to be delivered along with food. I was thinking of the wine and beer as more of a quote probationary period, where if you did what you were supposed to do and everything was fine, then you could come back. I don't know if this is possible, and it's certainly only my voice right now. I don't think anyone agrees with me, or if the SLA would allow that, but it would be something that if things worked in a couple of months, come back. But it's either, otherwise it's all or nothing. It's liquor, which is all, or it's no liquor at all, which is nothing. And I know that that puts really your business at a great risk. And we don't want businesses, again, to go out and to go away, but we are really concerned about health. This isn't a noise violation. It's not having bikes congesting the sidewalk violation, even though that's egregious in itself. It was health. It was the fact that we didn't know much about the virus, and especially in October, when there was a lot of concern about a second surge, which is already occurring elsewhere around the country, and a knowledge that the virus thrives more in cold weather than it does in warm weather. So if you were still incurring these kinds of violations in October, that for me, that doesn't send a very good message. I realize that you demoted your brother. And I also realize, because I know how hard it is in mediations to get people to apologize, that coming back and doing a mea culpa about the posting last month, and I was one of the people, along with everyone else on the board, who was upset about it, was a big deal. It's hard for people to admit that they did wrong. And so I appreciate that. But I'm concerned that the idea of, and even from the people who support you, that the idea of what the potential health risk wasn't really recognized. That's of concern to me. And so the idea that as it felt like, as long as you weren't getting caught, that things were okay. And so you're not supposed to have music on the sidewalk. So the fact that you took the speakers in is not a good thing. It's making up for something that shouldn't have been there at all. From my understanding, and I could be wrong, this is not my specialty. I think I've gone on long enough though. So I've said what I've said, but I appreciate your coming. And again, I'm listening to what everyone else says. So thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
If I could just address the legal issue with respect to what she's requesting, the change in class of the license for beer and wine versus full liquor. It's not feasible to do it that way. They would have to basically cancel the license that they have entirely, reapply, which could take another year to get a license back. They would be out of business.
Yeah, I told you, I don't know.
We're hoping. Yeah, but thank you for that. I mean, I understand the suggestion, and what they do understand. We're just looking right now to just move forward, and we're hoping that the things in the past are being addressed, and that this community board can give them another chance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will, who's on deck?
Good evening, all. Barry Schneider here. A couple of comments and a question. Comments: without question, we support local businesses. It's the lifeblood of the community, and we will do, as the neighborhood association, as a community board, do everything we can to support our local businesses. Moving on, Peter, have all the violations and all the complaints been resolved, done away with, ended?
In what capacity? When you say done away with, the
all right, all of the violations you receive from city agencies, have they been resolved?
The summonses themselves actually will be resolved, but they're indefinitely postponed due to COVID. So there was supposed to be a court date in January, and that was put off indefinitely because of there's no real courts on these types of cases right now. But they will be resolved. There's no question in one way or the other. But right now, it's been postponed indefinitely.
All of the complaints that are registered by the city agencies.
The summonses themselves by the city agencies that they received for the violations, yes, they've been postponed indefinitely by the city of New York.
All right, another question. Alita, in your comments, did I take it to understand that you'd like to suggest a substitute motion? Okay, she's shaking no. I can hear it from here, by the way. That's very, very effective. I'll move on now. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Barry.
We have Kaz, then Marco, and we also have Andrew Fine from the public who raised his hand, and then Valerie Mason.
Okay.
Well, 2 months ago, I would have been about 200% against this. Last month, I was down to about 100%. Tonight, I think I'm going to take a different tact. Couple of questions to the lawyer. When is the renewal? When does your renewal come up?
That's actually something Peter can answer. Do you know when the license is set to be renewed? You know when the last time you renewed it?
I think it was roughly 6 months prior to when we had this issue with the suspension, but I'd have to confirm that. That's
okay, so it's quite a ways down the road.
Yes.
Another question for your lawyer then. Have you thought of suing the SLA and Cuomo?
It's not really something we're considering at this point. I mean, our client has at this point accepted a great amount of responsibility for some of the things that have occurred.
Well, I mean, I agree with you there, but in the meantime, the SLA came out with this: within 100 feet, you're supposed to keep clear, which is the most ridiculous ruling that ever came out. You have two establishments. You're supposed to govern, you're supposed to rule 100 feet either side. So that ruling was absolutely ridiculous. The other one, in the meantime,
if I could address that, if I could address like some of these rules, I understand some of them.
I know, they're absolutely ridiculous.
The 10 p.m. There's so many of them that are you don't really see as irrational. But the problem that we're having with the State Liquor Authority is that even if the only way to challenge these is to go to a administrative hearing with the State Liquor Authority. And if we did that, because of COVID, our day in court could be 6 months to a year from now.
Yeah.
And the place would remain summary suspended the entire time. So we're trying to take the least resistant path if possible and get, from a practical standpoint, get the license back as quickly as possible because they've been out of business for so long without, I shouldn't say out of business, but their revenue has been really impacted greatly because of this.
No, I agree with you, but in our stipulations and everything to the SLA, I think I would like to add in there that the SLA has been so inconsistent. It has been so selective. It has been so haphazard. It has been ruling without thought. I can walk down the street now and find 30, 40 different places that are having indoor dining and no SLA restrictions. Now, indoor dining has been banned, yet there's many structures now that are classified as indoor dining. So the SLA is not doing a thing about it. Many people are taking the gamble. You were one of the unlucky ones that were caught. It happens. It was your fault. You had many violations. But at the same time, let's be fair to everybody. Let's put everybody on an even footing. So with our stipulations tonight, I would like to basically put in that, yes, they were at fault. They have remediated many of the issues. They have learned the lessons like many other people, but at the same time, the SLA has been inconsistent, has been erratic, has been non-enforcement, it's never been there at the right time. So, I mean, it is part of their fault, the Green Kitchens, but at the same time, the SLA has been ridiculous. And sorry for my rant.
Thanks, Cos.
So if you want to go back to a member of the public, Andrew Fine has his hand up.
Okay, let's do that.
Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to chime in here. I think that Green Kitchen was obviously guilty of bad behavior, at times really kind of abhorrent and disgraceful behavior. Then again, I think it has to be considered that at that given time, that all businesses in the neighborhood were really in a very desperate situation and kind of fighting for their lives, like all of us were. That being said, I think that one of the biggest gripes from the neighborhood was that Green Kitchen's misbehavior really drew unwanted attention on all the businesses in the neighborhood. And I think that if they were to be repentant on anything, it's to the neighboring businesses where they were not being a good neighbor and they were acting outside of the norms of even businesses that were in a desperate situation. That being said, it's a chronically empty space. It's a tough retail space and a tough retail environment. I think they've paid the price, and I think they should be given a second chance. Let's say it's tough out there. They didn't do the right thing, but I feel like they're doing the right thing now. They've paid the price, and for that, I think they should be given a second chance, given their license back, and I really believe that given that second chance, they'll do the right thing.
Thank you.
Valerie, then Marco, then you have Russell with his hand up again. Valerie, unmute.
Thanks. Yeah, sorry. Slow to the unmute button. You'd think by now I'd do it faster. I came in a little bit late, so I'm just trying to understand when Peter's lawyer, sorry, I'm not sure of your name yet, but you said that, what is your position on the actual fines, and are you prepared to pay them, or?
Yeah, I'll address that. So the actual violations themselves have to be dealt with in city court down at 1 Center Street. When we went to call the check on when it was going to appear, there's a voice message saying that they're put off indefinitely. They'll be resolved one way or the other. I don't know how I have to see the paperwork, the way it's written. I'll be honest with you, oftentimes the city agencies themselves, it's been my experience that sometimes they get dismissed before we even appear, having nothing to do with the attorney or anything. It just, I have to see them once I get to court and address them. Obviously, if it's something that the client will need to plead guilty to, then he would, and we'd work out a fine on it. As far as the state liquor authority goes, that's still pending as well. We're going to be requesting reconsideration on that. And there's going to be a significant fine that's going to be levied on this particular, or imposed on this particular establishment should the license be reinstated. So they're dealing with a lot from a financial perspective on all sides.
So from a timeline, you still have to wait for the hearing before the SLA, correct? Or is that?
Not necessarily a hearing. After this meeting that we have with this particular board, or committee, and then later the full board. If a letter does go out that's in support of this application, we will be going back to the State Liquor Authority to essentially try to work out what's called a conditional no contest plea. It's a conditional no contest with a civil penalty imposed. So it'll be up to the State Liquor Authority and the members of the State Liquor Authority, the final decision on the license. This will just be one component of it that they'll consider the community board's position.
Well, if I may, I mean, I just, I've been in, this is my third meeting on this topic, and I just think that one of the things that bothered me at the last two meetings was really kind of this idea that, well, I was just unlucky to get caught rather than just a plain old, I made a mistake and I want to go forward. And
were you able to have the opportunity? I'm sorry. Did you have the opportunity to hear Peter's statement at the beginning of this?
No, but I get that happened now. So what I'm trying to say is just something to think about. I mean, I would think that, hopefully we find our way to support, because look, Alita and I are both co-chairs of the Small Business Committee. So there's, I think, no people who are, and everybody on Street Life, everybody in our community wants our community to get back to normal. And we certainly don't want to unduly punish somebody for different things. But I also think that it was such a grievous, just flaunting, just thinking that nothing was going to happen, almost because of the fact that it was such an outlandish circumstance that even though the rules were being stated, nobody was really going to enforce them. And Peter found out the hard way that that wasn't going to be the case. I would just say that I think, we want to be supportive, but I would just have the Green Kitchen think about not only paying a civil, whatever their fines are with SLA, et cetera, but maybe thinking about, and I know that it's not the best of financial circumstances, but I really think that, the Green Kitchen is not known as a liquor establishment. It has a reputation as being a family restaurant. I mean, I'm just thinking more of the 77th Street location where I've gone to for many years with my family. That, you guys consider maybe a donation to the food pantry or something to the community that is out there trying to support you. I'm not saying you have to do it now, but I think it would be, again, in the context of being a good neighbor, something for you to consider as just a gift back to the community. That's all I have to say.
Just quickly to touch on that, if I may, just for a second, Valerie, thank you for your input there. I myself have kind of, not just in response to this, I think what I explained more recently is as of more recently, I've come in more of a full-time capacity. And one of the things that I've really been trying to do behind the scenes is kind of increase our sort of overall philanthropy. So, we are actually planning an event for one of the women's shelters on the Upper East Side, and that's a subsidy, I guess, or a sub-component of the Bowery mission. We regularly contribute to the Doe Fund. Unfortunately, we actually just got word of their founding members passing more recently. But we are trying to be as philanthropic as possible and increase our kind of reach within the community, and we'd be happy to do that. And we'd be in an even better position, ideally down the road, to continue to do that when hopefully we can get out of this financial burden and this overall mess of a climate.
Okay, well, thank you, Peter. I appreciate that.
Abraham, you have Russell, Marco, and Alita. You have Russell, Marco, and Alita. Would you like?
Okay, we'll do one. We'll do one more round.
Okay. Russell.
Did Marco speak yet? I don't remember.
I didn't think so.
So yeah, I would say just you can go to Marco first.
Okay. Marco.
Thank you, Russell. Peter, I had to mention something very important to you. When the regulations came out, personally myself, I went to your place and I handled the regulations and I talked to your manager. And even in that conditions, you failed to comply with the regulations. I understand people that mistakes, nobody's perfect. But my point is, and that if you do another error like that, I will strongly oppose your application. However, today I'm going to recommend your application. I'm going to support your request because especially for 72nd Street and First Avenue location, this is one of the best, and the community has been talking a lot, very nice things about that location. And I hope that you don't do mistakes. I hope that you be in compliance with your own mitigation. And if you do another time, I believe me, I think I will be fighting strongly against you. Now, the only thing I'm saying is I'm going to support your request. Thank you.
Thanks, Marco. Russell?
Thanks. So I just wanted to respond to some of the points that Kaz had made. And I think, I think there's a sort of larger question around enforcement and that kind of thing that, that may warrant discussion, but I would suggest that we not sort of get into that in this particular resolution, because I think we should just sort of focus on this particular application. And also, just as a practical matter, I think, the resolution is supportive of the Green Kitchen and trying to get the SLA to grant their request. And so I just think, strategically we shouldn't criticize the SLA essentially in what we're doing. So I would say let's just sort of leave that aspect of it out and just say that we're supportive of them and not talk about selective enforcement issues or anything like that.
Yeah, and then of course the remediation list, which will be stipulations, which they've already complied with, but we should definitely make that part of it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then Alita.
Abraham, I see that Lorraine Brown is here, so why doesn't she go first and I'll wait? If
Sounds
you don't.
good.
Thank you.
Ms. Brown?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Peter, I wish to extend my condolences to you and your family for the loss of your father. Now, what I sincerely want to touch upon is safety. As being elderly and disabled, it's very, very important. It's critical that everybody understands compliance. And this is a health and safety issue. So I'm going to trust that you are going to implement all of the rules that you promised to do to make your restaurant COVID-19 compliant. And based on that, because I believe in second chances, I will support your reinstatement, but I'll take you on your word. Your word is your bond. And if not, I am going to work very, very hard to make sure that your license is revoked. So I'm supporting this resolution because I believe in what you've stated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Alita.
Thanks. So two things, Peter. First, I guess I would say whenever there seems to be a gray area and you're not sure whether to read compliance rules strictly or loosely, I would ask that you read them, seeing the board's writing on the wall, that I'd ask that you read them strictly and make every effort to err on the side of caution when it comes to COVID. Again, it's not a noise complaint or a complaint that the trash is, well, all of those are health issues, I suppose, with rats and things, but you know what I mean, that you make every effort to ensure compliance with with a loose interpretation or a strict interpretation, I guess, of any health rules, whether they're from the city or the county or the state or the feds with respect to COVID-19. And also, I was thinking in my head what Valerie had suggested, which is more philanthropy. And I'd like to see, because obviously the liquor license would have a great impact on your bottom line, more in-kind types of donations. So possibly to provide food while there's still a lot of people who are hospitalized, to hospital workers. And when that eases up, to make regular donations to food pantries or shelters, which the city is in desperate need of, and an affirmative commitment to be able, and that's not a box of oatmeal or a box of pasta, but a serious contribution that will make a difference in the lives of people who are not fortunate enough to patronize either establishment. Thank you.
And to your point there, again, I just want to say, again, we've already kind of reached out to some of the shelters in the neighboring area. We do have plans to do that. Additionally, one of the things that I thought of, and this was months ago, was reaching out just by proximity to Lenox Hill to try and help first responders, COVID patients, et cetera. It's been a little bit difficult navigating through the different groups within the hospital to try and coordinate this, but that is also something that I'm working on. It's been a lot easier to put kind of the wheels in motion for the women's shelter, and logistically for us, that's the easiest, because again, like, I reached out to the Bowery Mission just because I myself have donated many times in the past. The Bowery Mission is an organization that I feel is an important organization. But it is difficult from like a food aspect for us to kind of shuttle food downtown. So we are tentatively scheduled to start working with the women's shelter. I think it's on 74th, if I'm not mistaken, in the next week or two. And we definitely have that intent, and that is something that's important to us, regardless of the liquor issue or the liquor license issue.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And I'm sure the board office could help put you in touch with other, if you don't have them on your own, with other needy organizations. So thank you. But I do think as your bottom line might get fattened up by a liquor renewal or revocation of the suspension, that to be able to give back in a very concrete way would be valuable for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Leah.
Cos?
Okay.
Yeah, as far as the resolution, I will see to my superior on not including any other stipulations. But at the same time, I think we should write to the SLA about enforcement and the uniformity across the board. But that's a separate issue.
Yeah, I think that would be, you're right, best handled at the board level too. If we have any suggestions or specific issues with SLA, we can address those, or go back and see if we can invite them for another forum. But for this particular topic, I think we should move on as suggested.
Yeah, I think the small business was going to initiate a meeting with Street Life about the DOT, SLA, and DOB, and whoever else with the, as some people call them, shanty towns.
That sounds like a good plan. Okay. So, do we have any more hands? Otherwise, I know that early on we did have the motion to approve, and it was seconded.
You have Mrs. Brown and Barbara Rudder.
Okay.
Could you call the question, please?
There you go. Okay. Call the question. Okay. So there's questions been called. If anyone is against calling it, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to assume everyone's in favor of calling the question. With that also in mind, seeing no hands against, I will then say that we have the motion to approve. Everyone goes down as an approval. If you're voting no, not voting for cause, or abstaining, please raise your hand so that I can write you down and take notes.
Alita has her hand up.
Okay, so I have
she was just fixing her mouth.
I was doing that. That's my thinking gesture. Thank you very much for pointing that out, but I am going to abstain.
Okay. Great. Any other hands that I don't see?
No, but you
Okay.
should quickly read the board members just into the video record.
Yes, so for this count, I have present Barbara Rutter, Cause, Marco, Russell, Barry, Alita, myself, Valerie, and Mrs. Brown. Did I miss anyone? I don't think
I
so.
didn't see any.
Okay. So the resolution will go down as approval and support of the letter subject to the stipulations in the remediation plan, 8 in support, 1 abstention. Okay.
Great. Now, will this go to the?
This will go. This will go to the full board. I mean, everything goes to the full board. In practice, unanimous items will not normally get called out. I suspect this will get called out for further discussion at the full board. So I think it would be wise to be present at that meeting as well.
And when is that?
That is February 20th.
Okay. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you. Is there any other old business or new business?
And that's February 17th, Wednesday, February 17th.
Oh,
January
okay.
was the 20th.
Oh.
Put the link to that meeting in the chat.
Great.
Sorry, Abraham.
No, that's great. I just verbatim read the agenda. Is there any new or old business by anyone? Okay, if not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Marco?
Thumbs up. Okay, motion to adjourn. I see a second by Cause. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Thanks, Will. Thanks, Russell.
See you all.
Bye.